Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. My review this week is for a movie, and this is going to be a controversial review, personally. This is a review for the 2012 sequel to the 2006 film called Silent Hill. This is Silent Hill Revelation. Now, I am a super big Silent Hill fan. I've told many of you that. I talked about it last week in the previous review I did for the first movie. I love Silent Hill deeply. Even the worst of the games that people typically love, and even fans, hardcore fans even love, I typically enjoy quite a bit. I'm a horror guy, but I love Silent Hill because of how special and unique it is compared to everything out there, including things like Resident Evil that it kind of took inspiration from back in the day. But Silent Hill Revelation, I have so many things to talk about with this. This is probably going to be a lengthy review because it's a nostalgic review for me. In 2012, I was still in high school, and I had a friend named Chase who was like an emo goth kid, and we bonded over Silent Hill, which was odd because you wouldn't think he and I would be friends, but we were talking about Silent Hill all the time. And Silent Hill Downpour was either about to come out or had just come out around the time that this movie dropped in the theaters. And this was so poorly received when it came out, and still is to this day. But when it came out, it was in the theater for like a weekend, and then it was gone. So I didn't even make it to see it in the theaters. And they rushed it out to DVD pretty fast by, actually, Valentine's Day of either the same year or the following year after that. And I was so excited because I loved Silent Hill at this point. I had been a fan for like probably 4 or 5 years at this point, and had become a really big gamer at this point. I was a gamer when I was a kid, but not to the point where I would even broaden out and try new games and stuff. I loved what I loved. Dragon Ball Z games, some racing games for kids like Mario Kart and Smurf Racing. And I didn't really try to broaden out until middle school when I tried out Silent Hill stuff. And this is the thing. I was stoked for this movie, and my mom actually got me this copy right here as a small Valentine's Day present. And I know that sounds pitiful and stupid, but it meant a lot to me because she knew how much of a fan I was of Silent Hill. So she got that for me, and I started watching it that morning before school because I was so stoked about this. So, Mom, I love you. Thank you so much for this awesome little flick. I have always enjoyed Silent Hill Revelation. It is a gigantic mess, whether you're a fan or not. If you're a fan of just the original movie adaptation of the game series, it's still a mess. It doesn't matter what perspective you're coming from. Even if you like it or hate it, it's still a mess, you know? Again, the original film came out in 2006. We had all waited forever for a sequel to this movie, and then we got it 6 years later. And this particular movie itself is based heavily on Silent Hill 3 about Heather, who is the main character here, the daughter of Harry Mason, the original character from the first game, and we didn't have any ties to Harry Mason in the second game, so this was kind of the first sequel we'd gotten back in the day where it was tying to an original character. Silent Hill 1 and 3 are really the only ones that really tie together. There's references to other games in the other Silent Hill games, but they're each pretty much standalone. You can kind of start anywhere, but again, you could kind of pick a bad game over a good game. I typically enjoy them all, like I said. Silent Hill 3, I am a fan of. Obviously, it's one of those great first 4 or 5 games. It's not in my, favorites list, but I like it a lot. Mainly because it's so grotesque, and there's something about this game, and it's supposed to do this, it's deliberate. It makes me sick inside, and I don't know how to explain it. It genuinely is so horrifically frightening to me, and so demonic and hellish and cultic, that it scares me on a deep primal level. I don't know what it is about Silent Hill 3 that does that. It does its job, and people consider this a lot of the time the best Silent Hill game, either this or Silent Hill 2, and rightfully so. It's a great one. I just don't love it like everybody else does who are hardcore fans. So if you're a diehard fan of Silent Hill 3, you're probably immediately going to hate this because it's trying to adapt that in an hour and a half, and also trying to be a sequel to the first movie, which is kind of a loose adaptation of the original game. So I have to be kind of into the spoilers for this review to be able to make this make sense for anybody who might even be mildly interested. Basically, Sean Bean is back as the dad. And he and Sharon, I keep getting all the names mixed up, but Sharon somehow, after the original ending of the original movie, she, even though we thought she was Alessa, that's what it seemed to be teasing, the evil little girl from Silent Hill that had been burnt up back in the day. There's a little bit of confusion on that. The movie doesn't really make a good firm stance on that. It tries to almost retcon some of the things about the original movie. But anyway, essentially Sean Bean and now his getting ready to turn 18-year-old daughter, Sharon, who somehow at the end of the original film in this retcon, she came back into his reality instead of where Rose was, the main actress, the mother from the original movie. So Rose had told Sean Bean back then, in the mirror, I know that sounds weird, but in the mirror she talked to him as kind of a cool reference to Silent Hill Origins, in my opinion. She told him, please, protect her, take care of her, whatever. So they've been kind of on the run, but he also, this part doesn't make sense. He has her involved in new schools all the time. She's had like 5 or 6 schools throughout her lifetime, over that like 10 years since the original Silent Hill took place. And since she came back from Silent Hill with her mom to then be with her dad in this reality, our reality. All this sounds wacky as hell, but just if you haven't seen the movies or played the games, I'm sorry. I can't make it any more simplistic than that. So, now that Sharon's about to turn 18, some people throughout her life have been coming after her and her dad. And eventually, they get the dad, they kidnap him and take him away, right when she's about to turn 18. And she meets a boy at this new school, played by Kit Harington, of all people, from Game of Thrones. I don't even like fucking Game of Thrones, but I know Kit Harington. This movie has a solid cast, by the way. I think a lot of the people cast for this are way better than they should be. I'll get to that. But Kit Harington and her kind of have... Immediately, she's super cautious with any stranger, even a cute boy in this case. So she's kind of keeping her distance, but she clearly has a thing for him. And the dad, Sean Bean, like I said, gets kidnapped by the people from the original Silent Hill cult, who has apparently gotten worse over the years versus what they did in the original movie. So she has to go to Silent Hill to find her dad. And Kit Harington is trying to be, you know, the new boyfriend, if you will, the first boyfriend. And he goes with her. There may be some more motives there. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to spoil a lot for this movie, even though it's older. But they go back to Silent Hill. And it takes a little bit to get there. Characters from Silent Hill 3 are super disrespected. I mean, from the game. For example, Douglas. Douglas is in this for like 2 minutes, and then he's gone. But in Silent Hill, as many of you know, there are creatures and monsters everywhere. One of the biggest issues I have with this movie, and the movie adaptations in general, is that they kind of sacrifice the idea that Silent Hill gets into a person's head and they see stuff that no one else would see because of their fears, their internal issues. And this movie forsakes that too, just like the first movie did. So in this Silent Hill, you're going to have Pyramid Head, you're going to have new monsters, you're going to have stuff that's not applicable to you, but is applicable to other people, and monsters that just exist in that reality anyway. I know all that's super complex, but people who are Silent Hill fans, again, they know what I mean with this. I have to say, a lot of the monsters here are monsters we already saw from the first film and from many of the games, like Pyramid Head, like I said. They're doing weird stuff with Pyramid Head. You know, he's like in a what is that thing called? The thing with like the horses that spins around at amusement parks. Which, by the way, they do the amusement park stuff in this movie from the Silent Hill 3 game. And it looks fantastic. It looks so good. That's where like all the budget went, in my opinion. The monsters are typically practical effects. They're typically someone in a makeup costume. And I think outside of one that looks like a Hellraiser monster, with like razor blades here, like a buzzsaw razor blade here, and like 2 on the top of the head, the thing looks so fucking stupid. I'm sorry, dude. But the rest of the monsters, whether it be Pyramid Head or some of the other ones from the first movie or some new ones, they look great. They look really, really great, man. They look just as good, if not sometimes better than they did in the first Silent Hill movie. The nurses are back, for example, and one really good scene in the movie I enjoyed the hell out of, by the way. But then you have, like, one monster. There's not a whole lot of CGI in the film. Pretty much everything is practical effects except for some blood. And one particular monster I mentioned a moment ago that involves a mannequin warehouse scene that is like my favorite moment in the entire movie. I love that monster design. I don't care if it's fully CGI. Fuck off. I really love that whole warehouse mannequin scene. It's not identical to the amazing mannequin scare. One of the scariest things in a game I've ever seen in my life from Silent Hill 3, the game. But it's really cool as a throwback to that, but completely new. And I really like it. It feels as if Team Silent, who made the original 4 games, came back and made this. I love that about it. This movie also has a ton of references to other Silent Hill games, like Silent Hill Downpour, like one of my favorites, Silent Hill Origins. I wish we would get a Silent Hill Origins movie. Oh my god, it would be so good. That should be the next one they make. Either that or Silent Hill 4 The Room would be an amazing movie to make. So anyway, I don't want to tell you anything more about the plot, not really much more about the monsters and stuff. There's really not a whole lot to be said about that. The movie is grisly. The sets look great. I love that about it, and again, how practical everything is. I just feel like the editing and the acting don't have a whole lot of time, and good work, by the way, to be developed. M.J. Bassett directed this, by the way, not the original director of the first movie, Christopher Gans, whatever, who came back to direct the newest movie, Return to Silent Hill, that hopefully, God willing, I can review next week for you guys, or at least the week after, more than likely. I have a physical copy coming in the mail from Walmart, so we'll see how that goes. If it gets here not damaged, right? So anyway, M.J. Bassett directed this. She's the director of the Solomon Kane movie, which I fucking love the Solomon Kane movie from like 2009. How did she turn this into what it is? I think she does a solid job in a lot of ways, at least as far as a Silent Hill adaptation goes for one of the most beloved games of the series. But it's not perfect, and apparently she hated it too. But I don't really know if I personally feel like there is a longer cut of this movie out there somewhere. Not an hour and 30 minutes or whatever, like this is, because the pacing zooms by on this movie. I feel like this was going to be a 2-hour-long movie that the studios forced her to chop down to an hour and a half. And I feel like if we had gotten the full hour 45, 2-hour cut that I swear to God I feel like is out there, I feel like it would have been a better movie. And I think it would have been well received, mostly, not completely, by the fans of the games, especially Silent Hill 3 fans. My biggest issue is that I feel biased about this because I love Silent Hill so much, and I really tried to watch the movie this time in a way that made me break it down and really pay attention to detail and try to think outside of my dumb brain on why would other people hate this. Not just normies who aren't really Silent Hill fans most of the time, but people who may be a casual to the game series or a casual to the first movie only or whatever. And again, in many of those respects, I could see anybody hating this movie because it's all over the place and it is choppy as hell. The editing is so messy. The script doesn't give characters like Vincent, played by Kit Harington, a good amount of stuff to work with. Some of the writing feels like somebody didn't know how to write dialogue. It's really, really, really messy in that regard. But then you have, again, the cast here. Sean Bean is excellent as the dad. He should not be as good as he is, I guess. I wouldn't even say he's excellent, but he's trying really hard. I think he genuinely cares about these. I had heard that he hated this and didn't want to come back, but the chick who played the mom in the first movie comes back for that small moment, which was nice, by the way. And if I had heard correctly, I think he came back because she came back, or vice versa, or something. But I loved having them there. I thought Sean Bean was really solid here. The chick playing the main character, who should be called Heather, but she's Sharon, she's really solid here. She's trying her best to give a good performance too, and I genuinely think she would be good in anything else that didn't have this kind of script. Because Silent Hill is kind of out there, and even if it had a great script, like the first movie kind of has, except for the ending, I don't think that American audiences that are not familiar with Silent Hill games and how weird and out there they are, dialogue-wise and everything, I don't think it would be well received without having to modify what Silent Hill feels like atmospherically. There's an eeriness there because everything is so weird and because people don't act like people in Silent Hill games. And that's something that I think mainstream audiences and casual fans and stuff are not going to pick up on that, not going to understand that. So like that first movie, it needs to be made for the fans specifically. And I personally feel like Silent Hill Revelation, despite how messy it is, I feel like it is that, to be honest with you. I feel like M.J. Bassett did not completely drop the ball like she herself seems to think she did. I think it has a lot to offer. Again, whether it be references to Silent Hill games like Origins and Downpour, which are like there for like 2 seconds, but still. This was such an exciting time because this is before we realized it would be a 10-year or so break before we would get anything new from Silent Hill, which has sucked for a long time, not having anything until Silent Hill 2 a couple of years ago, now Silent Hill F and all these other things like Ascension and stuff. It's been a dry spell for a while, and it's a sad shame about that, in my opinion. And I don't even need remakes. I'm glad we're getting newer games like Silent Hill F. I'm just happy we're getting more Silent Hill. If it's not the greatest, that's fine. I can take lukewarm, but when it comes to the movies, it'd be cool to have more movies. Even though now it seems like that's dead in the water too, based on reception of Return to Silent Hill. Let's see, what else do I have to talk about here on my list? The movie looks solid, like the cinematography, the lighting of the sets, I like all that. I think it looks pretty competent. Despite it looking kind of cheap, it feels to me like this movie was the studio looking at the first film's reception, maybe how much money it drew in, and saying, well, we need to make the sequel a lot cheaper than that. That's what it feels like to me. Maybe I'm wrong about that, maybe I'm not, but that's what it feels like. And personally, I think MJ Bassett pulled it off. I don't know what the budget was on this. I didn't look into it compared to the first movie. I think it's extremely less, like maybe $10 million less, to be honest. It doesn't seem as resourceful when it comes to that. But they had a lot of things they had to build, like the amusement park set and stuff. So a lot of that money went there, I'm betting. But the music here, let's talk about that. The music is still the Akira Yamaoka music from the games, the score designer for those games. They used the same thing for the first film. I think it's not used as well in this movie as the first movie did it, but it's still good. I'll still take it. It was nice. It really sets the scene. And again, I feel like it's a great example of a very rough movie that if they had put really shitty generic music for this, it would not be as enjoyed by people like me. But being respectful, being a movie for the fans, the hardcore fans anyway, and using Akira's music from back in the day, it really works, man. I think it really lifts this movie up to a new level that it shouldn't be able to hit with all the problems with the movie's filmmaking aspects. I don't know. I think that by the end of the movie, a lot of things like Pyramid Head, for example, make no fucking sense in the context of this movie or in the games that it's trying to pull from. It just feels like this movie, by the end of it, really falls apart. But I still enjoy it, even though I'm biased about it because I love pretty much everything Silent Hill. Comics, movies, whatever. I love what people hate about Silent Hill stuff. So that's what really resounds with me with this, is that I think it's better than people make it out to be. I feel like it's super overhated. Unfairly so, to be honest with you. I think it deserves better, to be honest. There's a lot of that little girl. Is that the little girl? I'm pretty sure that's the little girl and not the grown-up Sharon. But the little girl from the first Silent Hill that played the daughter, Sharon, is in this a lot. And you'd think she'd be a lot older, being 6 years later. Maybe it's old footage reimposed or superimposed on the newer footage. I don't know. But they have her like with black eye contact lenses and long black hair and stuff. She's in it popping up here and there throughout the movie. And she, once again, gives a solid performance here. I'm really surprised by this. Oh, I didn't even talk about one of the other actresses in this. Claudia, I think is the character name, the cult leader lady from the third Silent Hill game. She's in this, played by Carrie-Anne Moss from The Matrix, of all things. That shocked the hell out of me. I did not realize all these years that was Carrie-Anne Moss. She seems to get sucked into the most hated projects out there, whether it be Star Wars Acolyte, whether it be this. I like Carrie-Anne Moss. I think she's a good actress, but shit. She looks really good in the makeup here, too, that they do for her. She looks a lot of ways very much like a good adaptation, and she gives a good performance, by the way, for that cult leader in this movie. But she's barely in it. That's the big thing here. There are some returning actresses from the first movie, like the mom of Alessa is in this as well, and she does really good for the couple of scenes that she's in the movie. So anyway, Silent Hill Revelation, it is a mess. I'll completely accept that and confirm that to anybody out there who's mildly interested in Silent Hill games or movies, but I still really like this. I don't love it. I don't think it's perfect by any means. It has a giant amount of mistakes, but man, they don't even make bad movies like this anymore. They just make plain bad movies that aren't even fun to watch or aren't even for the fans most of the time. This is so much better than people give it credit for. If you're a Silent Hill fan out there that never watched this and maybe never saw the first movie, you should watch them both. I can't speak for Return to Silent Hill. I haven't seen it yet. I have a feeling I'm going to like it, but I enjoyed this. And I've heard that this is worse than the Return to Silent Hill movie. I've heard vice versa also, but I've heard that this is worse more commonly. So anyway, Silent Hill Revelation. If I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I would give this like a high 3 out of 5 stars. I like it a lot. I think it's got a lot to offer here. It's just messy. It's just the editing problem and what I feel like is a lot of missing story and scenes that needed to be in here to develop characters a little bit more. There are some moments, by the way, though, one in particular involving a janitor's closet, that is so awful in how it's shot that clearly there was another angle that was supposed to be shot that was never used for the movie for whatever reason. There are scenes like that janitor's closet scene that is just embarrassing about this movie, which is sad, because it made me laugh this time when I saw it too. It ruins that scene of the film with how tense this was getting. But the big thing is too, by the way, this was filmed to be in 3D. When it came out, like the thumbnail of my video shows, it was called Silent Hill Revelation 3D. And the 3D shots in here are embarrassing. Most of the movie doesn't even feel like it's shot for that. But with the tech that Avatar really kind of pioneered for 3D, I feel like that would have looked way better in a theater, overall as a movie. Because it has that look that a lot of 3D movies look like. I don't think it would have been good in 3D. Maybe a little bit better. I don't know, but I don't think it would have made the movie better. I would be interested, as a fan of this movie, I would be interested to see that at some point. But anyway, Silent Hill Revelation, 3 out of 5 stars from me. What do you guys think about the Silent Hill games? What's your favorite game? What's your favorite of the movies? Do you like this movie? Do you hate it? Let me know your thoughts about everything about Revelation down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are, too, on Silent Hill Revelation versus Return to Silent Hill. But again, don't spoil anything. Just tell me which one you like more. That would help me a lot. So anyway, thank you, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later. And goodbye.